right, let's unpack this. The Vatican and NFTs. It still feels a bit like a headline you'd see in a sci-fi movie, maybe, but it's real.
It really is quite the unexpected intersection, isn't it?
Definitely. So for this deep dive, we're exploring how the Catholic Church, specifically under Pope Francis, is actually engaging with non-fungible tokens.
Right, NFTs.
And we've gathered a really diverse set of sources, from officially sanctioned Vatican NFTs tied to the Pope himself to some, well, fascinating independent digital art inspired by him.
Hmm? So a mix of official and sort of inspired by project.
Exactly. Our mission today really is to get a clearer picture of why the Vatican is venturing into this digital space.
And what the potential upsides could be for them.
Yeah, thinking about things like charity, the huge task of preserving their cultural treasures, and maybe connecting with new audiences in this, digital age.
What's immediately striking, I think, is just the variety of approaches they seem to be taking.
Right.
It's not like they're just dipping a toe in. They seem to be exploring multiple avenues pretty much simultaneously.
Yeah, and each one seems kind of aligned with different parts of their overall mission. So one of the earliest and maybe the most direct application seems to be in charity.
Okay.
Way back in 2021, the Scholas Occurrences Foundation, that's Pope Francis' own global charity focusing on education, they launched an NFT collection.
Right, on the Hoken NFT platform, wasn't it?
That's the one.
Yeah, if you think about the bigger picture, that was a pretty significant step back then. A major global institution embracing what was still a relatively new technology.
And specifically for philanthropic goals.
Exactly. These weren't just like random digital collectibles. They were actual digital artworks. And they drew inspiration directly from Pope Francis's teachings and messages.
Okay.
The core aim was pretty clear: generate funds to support the foundation's educational work around the world.
So the novelty of NFTs, it wasn't really the main point. It was more a means to an end.
It seems like it. A very tangible end, bolstering the Pope's charity work through this new digital channel.
Right. Now, pivoting just a little bit, another really interesting development is the Vatican Library's Web3 support project.
Ah, yes, the library. That feels very different, doesn't it? More focused on their, well, incredible mission of preserving and sharing knowledge.
Totally. How do you make centuries of wisdom accessible in our, increasingly digital world? That's the big question they're tackling.
And the Vatican Library, working with NTT Data Italia, they came up with a really innovative solution, I think.
Using NFTs to reward engagement.
Precisely. They're offering these digital tokens, mainly to Italian users initially, I believe, who either help promote the library's project on social media.
Like sharing posts and stuff.
Yeah, or who make actual financial contributions to the project.
Okay, so there's the silver NFT, just for spreading the word, basically.
Right, and that gets you access to high-res scans of, I think, 15 ancient manuscripts.
Wow, okay. And then the gold NFT, that's for donations.
Yes, and that unlocks sort of an even richer experience. Access to 21 particularly special manuscripts, also in high resolution.
What's really interesting about this strategy, though, what stands out?
Well, a couple of things. Firstly, the fact that these NFTs are soul-bound.
Soul-bound, meaning?
Meaning they can't be transferred or resold. They're directly linked to your digital wallet, the recipient's wallet.
Ah, okay. So it's not about flipping them for profit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That really suggests the focus is on fostering a genuine connection with the library's resources, not speculative trading.
Makes sense.
And secondly, it's just a really clever way to build an online community around the library, and broaden access to these incredibly rare collections.
It's like getting a personalized digital key to this massive archive. Pretty cool.
Think of it like a digital membership card that unlocks historical treasures.
Yeah. And the Vatican didn't just stop there, did they? Their first official NFT, that was that huge mosaic of Pope Francis.
Oh, right, the 149 megapixel one, composed of, 350 individual photos.
Yeah, from his 2019 visit to Thailand. That's a seriously detailed digital snapshot.
It really is. And the context there is important, too. It wasn't just random. It was created to commemorate the 350th anniversary of Catholicism in Thailand.
Okay, specific historical marker.
And they chose to mint it on Calumet.io. That's a platform on the Tezos blockchain.
Tezos. That's known for being more energy efficient, right?
Yeah.
Compared to some others.
Exactly. It aligns with what people are calling the clean NFT movement, which is, an important point given all the environmental discussions around blockchain tech.
Good point. And crucially, the money raised.
Ah, yes. The proceeds from selling this NFT were dedicated to supporting education for disadvantaged children, specifically at the Scuola Comunità Incontro in Thailand.
So again, we see this pattern emerging. Commemorating history, using digital tools, but also channeling support directly to a cause.
It's a recurring theme, definitely.
Then we have something, well, on a completely different scale. The Pontifex Carpet NFT price tag, $150,000.
Yeah, that one definitely makes you stop and take notice.
Right.
It really shows the sheer range of ways they're exploring NFT applications. This particular one, it's a collaboration
Between who?
between a retail initiative called Zulea that's linked to Fatima bint Mohammed bin Zayed initiative, FBMI, and Maro Collective, an NFT curatorial group.
Okay. And the NFT itself is based on?
It's based on a historic carpet that was actually gifted to Pope Francis back in 2016. It's said to symbolize peace and harmony. Original's pretty big, over 2.7 meters long.
And what makes this one stand out besides the price?
Well, the direct link between the digital asset, a physical item, and a charitable cause.
Ah, because the buyer doesn't just get the NFT token, right?
No, they also receive a physical replica of this significant carpet. Smaller, but still substantial, about 1.8 meters.
And the charity aspect.
Crucially, a very large chunk, 80% of the proceeds, is specifically designated to support Afghan weavers and their families, directly tied to the carpet's origins.
Wow. Okay, so it launched at Abu Dhabi Art, and you can find it on OpenSea now.
That's right, OpenSea, one of the biggest NFT marketplaces. So this one really blends high-value art, cultural heritage, a physical component, and significant charitable giving.
It shows how NFTs can potentially facilitate both, well, big transactions and real social impact.
Exactly. And it also reflects the Vatican's engagement with different cultural and artistic traditions beyond purely Western or religious art.
Now, shifting gears again, more into contemporary art, there's the Life is Beautiful teaser, NFT, by the artist Mr. Brainwash.
Ah, yeah. Mr. Brainwash. That feels like a very deliberate move, doesn't it? Connecting with a different kind of audience.
Seems like it. He's pretty well known, right, for that vibrant street art kind of style.
Often very thought-provoking stuff. This specific NFT is actually a video.
A video NFT? Okay.
Yeah, derived from his painting called El Inmigrante. And it centers on themes like migration, human dignity, pretty weighty topics.
So by working with an artist like Mr. Brainwash and using a video NFT, it signals, what, an openness maybe?
I think so. An openness to contemporary art forms, definitely. And also a willingness to tackle important social issues using these newer digital media formats.
It's like tapping into conversations happening outside the usual, maybe more traditional spheres of religious art.
Good way to put it.
And speaking of different ways to experience art, the Vatican is also developing a virtual reality NFT gallery.
Oh yeah, the VR gallery. That sounds potentially huge.
Right, making their absolutely vast collection accessible globally.
Absolutely. It's a collaboration with Sensorium and also Humanity 2.0. And the goal is basically to create this immersive VR experience.
So you can wander through the Vatican museums from your living room.
Pretty much. Explore their collection, which is, what, over 70,000 works, including masters like Da Vinci, Raphael. It's staggering.
Incredible. Now, are they actually selling NFTs in this gallery, or is it more about access?
Well, the specifics on NFT sales within the VR space are still a bit unclear from what I've seen. But the primary aim, stated pretty clearly, seems to be democratizing access.
Breaking down barriers.
Exactly. Imagine being able to see these masterpieces regardless of where you live or your socioeconomic situation. That's a powerful idea for art appreciation.
It really does break down those traditional barriers, doesn't it? Physical distance, cost. Now, on a slightly different tack, Pope Francis was also given an NFT, wasn't he, at the Human Economic Forum?
Yes, that's right. Gifted by Unicrypto, a youth organization. This one feels less about sales or mass access, more symbolic.
Symbolic how?
Well, the NFT itself features the forum's logo, and it was presented stored on a Ledger hardware wallet.
A ledger, like a secure USB drive for crypto.
Basically, yeah. A secure physical device to safeguard the digital keys for crypto and NFTs. Provides extra security. The NFT itself was meant to represent concepts like social sustainability, ethical tech, the role of AI.
So a symbolic gesture connecting faith with these really current tech and ethical discussions.
Exactly, highlighting that intersection.
Which kind of leads us into a slightly different and very public aspect of digital imagery, AI-generated stuff.
Ah, yes, the Pope in the puffer jacket.
The white puffer jacket, that went absolutely viral, didn't it? created by Midjourney AI.
It sparked a huge amount of online discussion, for sure.
Hmm.
And it even led Midjourney, the AI tool that made it, to temporarily ban the word Pope in user prompts.
Really? Wow.
Because it highlights the complexities that pop up when established institutions engage with these really fast-moving digital tools.
Because some people saw it as funny, maybe harmless.
Right, some saw it as lighthearted, even creatively interesting. But it also raised serious questions about misrepresentation, the ethics of using these powerful AI tools, especially with prominent figures or sacred symbols.
Yeah, it definitely underlines that need for ongoing reflection as this tech keeps advancing.
No doubt.
And this all inevitably connects back to the broader reactions we've seen to the Vatican actually using NFTs, right? It's been mixed.
Very much so.
Yeah.
There's definitely enthusiasm from some quarters, the potential to connect with younger people, raise funds for good causes.
But there's also been criticism.
Well, absolutely. Concerns about kind of commercializing sacred symbols.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate? That's a question people are asking. It's definitely a spectrum of responses.
Which is understandable, I suppose. Any institution with that kind of history and cultural weight stepping into a new dynamic space like NFTs is bound to stir things up.
Completely. The potential benefits seem clear: charity support, cultural preservation, outreach. But the questions are legitimate too.
Yeah. Although, as you mentioned with the Thailand mosaic being on Tezos, it seems there is some awareness about the environmental side, maybe moving towards cleaner options.
It suggests an awareness, yes. A move towards more environmentally conscious blockchain choices seems to be part of the consideration, at least in some cases.
Thinking about the bigger picture, though, it really feels like NFTs could be a significant tool for the Vatican Library specifically, for their mission of preservation and accessibility.
Oh, hugely significant. I mean, we're talking about an immense task, digitizing millions of items.
Yeah.
Ancient books, manuscripts, coins, medals, prints, artwork.
The scale is just mind-boggling.
It really is.
Yeah.
And NFTs offer a mechanism not just for, making digital copies, but potentially for offering unique digital ownership or special access rights. That could expand global access to these historical treasures in completely new ways.
It truly is a fascinating crossing point, isn't it? A very, very old institution meeting cutting-edge tech.
Faith and technological innovation converging.
So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it's clear the Vatican's engagement with NFTs isn't just one thing. It's multifaceted, it's evolving.
Definitely. We've seen them exploring a whole range of uses, fundraising for key charities, making knowledge and art more accessible.
Commemorating history, engaging with contemporary art.
Right. It really underscores the potential for digital assets to maybe bridge that gap between tradition and modernity.
Offering new ways for institutions like this to connect with people globally, support their missions, protect their heritage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Safeguarding that rich cultural heritage for the future. But as we've touched on, these ventures also bring up important ethical points, environmental questions, things that will keep being discussed.
For sure. And on that note, maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given this really remarkable blend of centuries-old tradition and this super fast-moving technology, what do you think the long-term impact of digital assets might actually be? Not just for the Vatican, but for religious institutions worldwide. And maybe even for how we all interact with and value cultural heritage in this digital landscape that's constantly changing?
That's a big question.
It is. Definitely something to keep thinking about.